everybody. How are we doing today? We got another live watch along here on Celtics Digest. As you all know, the Celtics are taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 1. I'm obviously Bruce Veliz, my co-host Isaac. And now we have our guest, Brandon Slater, ladies and gentlemen, from the Maine Celtics, a Villanova wing who had played this past year with the Maine Celtics squad. Brandon, first off, I want to say thank you so much for coming out to the stream. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, and thank y'all for having me.
Appreciate you so much for coming out here. Once again, like I mentioned, you played for the Maine Celtics. If anybody has any questions for Brandon down below in the chat, you can let us know. We'll pull them up. Brandon will be able to see your questions, and we can get them answered for you here. But Brandon, going into this game with the Celtics and the Cavaliers, what are some things you're looking to see out of this squad tonight?
So, I mean, we definitely have a talented team in the Celtics, but you gotta give credit when credit is due. The Cavs, they fought. They've been through Game 7 already, so it can help you at certain times. I mean, it could also hurt you. Like you played a little bit longer than you maybe should have, or you just had a series where you were in a dogfight. You're going to be a bit more exhausted, coming into it. But it could also be on the back end where, you could be in rhythm now that you have played a Game 7, now that you've played a few more games than almost every other team in the playoffs. You kind of have a little something under your belt, So it'll be interesting. I got faith in the Celtics being able to take this home and get started on Game 1 and bringing this win in. But it's a great team, great players, great coaches. So it's the playoffs. Anything can happen.
Exactly, and like you mentioned, this team just got to go out there full heart. Isaac, what are your kind of thoughts with this team tonight? What do you got to say?
The Celtics got to, and first before Slate, always a pleasure to talk to you. Me go way back, but it's gonna be interesting to see because the Cavs, like Slate mentioned, maybe they have a lot of run. They're gonna probably play on a game of runs, be a little still that high off that Game 7 win. That our legs are fresh, we can still keep going, or they might show a little fatigue and show a little gas. We have no idea what we're gonna expect with this Cleveland team. All I know is, the Celtics just got to come out and play hard and just kind of close the gap between the Cleveland, because Cleveland is they're lethal. It's hard. It's going to be hard to play against a Cleveland team that just got off of Game 7.
Like they're talented. I got to give them credit, man. Donovan Mitchell can go for whatever he wants to go for at any second. Then you have shooters around them. You have athletes around them. Going into the rim is going to be very difficult with those monsters down there, So, it's going to be a great game, and it's going to be a great series, and hopefully, the Celtics can pull it out.
Exactly. And Brandon, you mentioned obviously Donovan Mitchell. He's such a great offensive creator, can basically go off at any moment. We saw in Game 6 versus the Magic, he dropped 50 points, more than half of what the team could drop total. They dropped 96. He dropped 18, scoring all their fourth quarter points. So again, the Celtics are going to have to be able to take that matchup, have to have guys like Derek White, Drew Holiday be able to take those matchups up, really step up on the defensive side of the perimeter. And as we all know, they got some great shooters on the bench as well. And Max Strus from the Miami Heat, he was a big shooter for them in the last couple of series. Is Georges Niang, he's another shooter. Caris LeVert. Last time I was at the TD Garden this year, I think it was in like January or December, they played the Cavs in like a back-to-back game, and Caris LeVert dropped like 20 or 25 versus the Boston Celtics. So these guys, they have those great role players. I think that they have some better scoring than compared to that Miami Heat team that they faced off in the first round. So like you mentioned, I think it's going to be definitely tough for this team to be able to handle on the defensive side. But as we all know, great defensive squad, great offensive squad with this Celtics team, as they have one of the best net ratings in NBA history.
Yeah.
Well, it's a little crazy. It looks like the game just kind of started with a 5-0 run.
Yep.
So, Slate, I might as well ask this before everyone starts harassing you here in a little bit of the chat, since the first quarter just kind of started. I know with most G League teams that are with their parent squad, they're together, they practice together almost like A and B teams practice with each other. You guys are a little unique. You guys are like one of maybe 4 of the G League teams that aren't with their parent squad every day.
Mm-hmm.
How is it different being away, and what are you seeing that's different with some of the guys, some of your teammates that are playing right now, like Jordan Walsh and Nemus? What's the difference you think?
Yeah, I think with us being not in the same location as the parent squad, I think it gave us a sense of like you feel like it's all you guys, like your teammates and your coaches. You feel like it's just you guys. In the games, it feels like the community is literally on the team with you. Like it's so loud. Everybody, they root for you so hard. Like they feel like they're part of the team because it's so small, and the gym can only hold about like 2,000. Our team is only 15 deep, maybe 13, 14, somebody might be injured, and just our coaching staff. And it's like you feel that it's you or nothing, And I think it's like a sense of desperation when we feel like, all right, we have to win. And not only we have to win, we have to show the guys down in Boston, hey, like this is a team just like any other G League team. Like we are ready to, balls to the wall. Excuse my French. Like we're ready to, put everything on the line for the name Celtics. Like we have the Celtics swag, we got the gear, we got the name, just like them. It just so happened that we're a little bit further. I think probably the only difference is that if we were closer, maybe we'd use their facilities if we were closer. But I mean, honestly, you can play basketball anywhere if you have a basketball and a hoop. And that's how we came about, and that's how we felt, and that's how we fought our way to the championship,
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned obviously the gym, not having as many people to fill in, but in that last game, Game 3 of the G League Finals, it was absolutely packed. I tried to get tickets to the game. It was sold out. It was just absolutely crazy. How was playing in that type of atmosphere, compared with all those fans there, all the Celtics fans probably traveling up to Maine to go see you? How was that feeling?
Yeah, it felt amazing. We felt loved. We felt like we were, embraced by the city of Portland, not only the city of Portland, but the state of Maine, and not only the state of Maine, we were supported by people from the greater Boston area. So it felt like, we had something to play for, and we gave pride to the Celtics name. And I think that's all, at the end of the day, that's all we can ask for. We played as hard as we could. We fought as hard as we could. And sometimes you do come up short, but sometimes that makes you better in life. And I think that we can learn from this, and hopefully if we get the same group of guys back, we can make another run at this and really have something under our belt now.
Exactly. You mentioned, obviously, when we talked prior to going live, like wanting to keep coming back, wanting to keep going with this team, having that culture from the top down from the Celtics, obviously with the main squad. And you can clearly see it with this team this year. And, we've had successful teams with Maine in the past where, some great players that have come through. Obviously, Sam Hauser and, now Luke Cornett with his stints over there. But absolutely fantastic stuff from you guys. One thing I did want to mention is I want to talk about your teammates. Kyler Kelly, he was an absolute beast in that final. He was coming up huge, getting those block shots, and just absolutely a defensive menace. Celtics fans, if you do not know who he is, look up his highlights for the Maine Celtics G League this year, because he was absolutely on fire in that game that I watched, the final game.
Yeah, I mean, not only that game in the final series, but the whole entire year. I mean, you can see it in the highlights, but it's a completely different type of style of play that we play when he's in the game. We know that 9 times out of 10, if you get by us on the wings out in front, you're going to have to deal with Kyler Kelly in the back. And not only Kyler, if we wanted to, and if Kyler got hurt, James Banks. And James Banks was top 10 in blocks, just like how he was.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like we had 2 monsters. And then when we added more playing time of Nimi, when Nimi came and spent the rest of the season basically with us, we had 3 bigs literally who were 3 of the best bigs in the G League. And I don't think you can really say that any other team has had that. And we were so blessed And like you said, I mean, Kyler is a freaking nature. He's 7 foot 7'1" with a 40-inch vertical. You don't get that. And when you have somebody like that, he's gonna get you 5, 8, 10 blocks, maybe,
Yeah.
legitimately. And I think a lot of times we made runs because he was so good defensively for us.
Mm-hmm.
And then he could screen, he can roll, he catch lobs. He's a great player, and he has a lot of talent that people are going to notice from what he's done this past season. He's going to get so many opportunities, and I hope the best for him.
Exactly. You mentioned kind of all the tool type player. In my personal opinion, those are my favorite types of basketball players. The guys who can kind of contribute and do everything as a great basketball mind. Like one of my favorite players for the Celtics was Marcus Smart, just because of his effort, his hustle, just how much he tried. Like you could tell he wanted to do it for the fans, for the people. And we've have a bunch of those guys in our system that just I love to see do it every single day. But as we look at the game here and kind of break it down, Jaylen Brown's been doing absolutely fantastic. Sorry to cut you off there, Isaac, but
no, I was just about to say the same thing because it looks like whatever you guys did in Maine and Portland is starting to rub off right now in Boston currently with that 12-5 lead. I mean, I know you got some moments to practice with the parent team, or you got to see some things happen on with the organization. What's your expectations of this game tonight?
Oh man, I got total faith in the Celtics pulling it out, but I just want to see, great basketball. At the end of the day, when you see your parent team or when you see somebody who you kind of shared the same, name with or be on the same floor with those guys, like you want to see them succeed just like how you do, So I got nothing but high expectations in this game. It's going to be a great high-level game, and we got high-level players with the Celtics.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, it seems like a lot of the Celtics fans are now starting to get on the stream. And
exactly. We got around 17 people in here, so if anybody has any questions for Brandon, you can drop them down in the chat. We'll pull them up for him so we can answer your guys' questions, so we can have, some talks with him, kind of how we did with the radio talk and stream. But you guys mentioned that they have some very high-quality players we're seeing right now. Jaylen Brown really, really dominating for this team offensively here. He came up huge in the playoffs so far this year. He's had some really big games for the Boston Celtics alongside Derek White and Jason Tatum. Do you agree, Brandon, that this is the best starting five in the NBA, or is it just that a little bit of Celtics bias?
You can say I'm biased. You can call me biased. I played for the Maine Celtics this year. You can say what you want about that, but I mean, yeah, it's hard to put any starting five over them. So many great players: Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps. You got anybody and everybody you can think of on this team that they could probably go and legitimately be a starter. There's so many players on this team. Derek White. There's so many players that I could just keep going on. Just the starting five, but not only just the starting five. Peyton Pritchard. You got Nemi. You got anybody. O'Shea Brissett is amazing glue guy. Like it's just it's talent all around, and I think this team, is special.
I love that you mentioned O'Shea Brissett being a great glue guy for this squad, because I mentioned multiple times on this stream that his hustle, his tenacity for going for offensive rebounds, just the motor that he has, the effort. He even comes in, 3-5 minutes, but that impact is seen every single time. And he was the guy that I was saying in the playoffs, I don't expect him to get that much playing time, but if the Celtics were to go on a little bit of not a deep run, but a little bit of a stretch where they're not making that many shots, not getting that rebounds, Joe Mazzulla should take O'Shea Brissett, put him in that starting forward position, and just get the guys going. If they can see O'Shea Brissett give that hustle, give that energy, going for those rebounds and fighting for it, I want to do it. Guys like Tatum, guys like Brown will want to take that, notion, and he just does it all. His high-flying lobs is just absolutely crazy. I saw him play at Syracuse when I went to tour there, even though I went to Seton Hall. So I think it's just crazy to see him, play with the Celtics team. And I'm just happy you mentioned him. He's one of my favorites. Another guy, Xavier Tillman, one of the new acquisitions. He does it all too. He's just a nice big body down low, can play great defense. He's working on stretching the floor with that three-point shot. And I think he was a steal for the Boston Celtics in an acquisition.
For sure. He's an amazing player. I mean, He has all the accolades you can think of when he was in college, and it shows when he's in the pros now. When he was with his other team, and now him being a part of the Celtics organization, it just shows in full display.
Mm-hmm. The Cavs, though, are going on a little bit of a heat streak here as they've now taken the lead from the Boston Celtics. Donovan Mitchell, like you mentioned, Brandon, at the beginning of this stream, just such a great offensive creator. Just hit a 3 to send the Celtics to a timeout. So now the Celtics are going to have to run a little bit of a different game plan here, trying to stop Donovan Mitchell and this Cavs squad from really taking off offensively.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting series. I mean, Slate. I mean, you're one of the few people that, at least I know from you, you've seen maybe a good 25% of the league before they've been in the league, and
Yeah.
already got the. I know you've had some moments with the main Celtics come into the facility every now and then, but who on the Celtics team on this roster that you could tell all the streamers here and everyone in the stream, please just pay attention to what he says because this is a big question. Who do you think on that 1 through 15 could probably break out in this series if it's not already the starting five, the historic starting five?
Gotta go Peyton Pritchard, man. You gotta go Peyton Pritchard. They have amazing guys, top to bottom, 1 through 15. Peyton Pritchard is the box office guy that probably won't ever look like he could be that, but he's all of that. He has the mindset of a killer. He has the understanding of the basketball, and he has the feel of how to be a star, and he's a star in his role. And I think that if the Celtics need somebody to give a spark, or if they need somebody to break out, in this series and in this playoffs, I think you can't look past Peyton Pritchard,
Mm-hmm.
I know what you mean, Brandon. He really is turned up. I said at the beginning of the year for my predictions, again, could have been a little bit biased, but I was having him as a 6th man of the year candidate. I don't know if you watched him in the preseason, but he really, really popped off, taking over for the Boston Celtics in those games, dropping 20, 30 points back to back to back. And some Celtics fans weren't the highest on him, but towards the middle to the end of the season, he really, really picked up his pace, hitting his shots. Great playmaker as well. Has great chemistry with guys like Luke Cornett and Sam Hauser, where he can just find them when he knows when they're going to be open. And he's really turned up that game style as well with getting to the basket, being able to finish on those bigger and taller forwards now. And now that's like, when you see him driving to the rack, he's not automatically going to kick out for a pass, which is absolutely fantastic to see. And I think he's had some, good shooting stretches here and there through the playoffs. He hasn't had that breakout game, but I think he's going to have one in the next couple of games for sure, because he can really transcend offensively for the squad.
Mm-hmm. Hey, what were you about to say? Go ahead, Isaac.
Go ahead, Brandon. You got it. You
said you said Sam, and I can't believe I forgot Sam. Oh, man. Tell Sam I'm sorry. Sam is definitely somebody who can break out at any second.
Yeah.
At any moment, he could go for 4 threes in a row, At any moment, he can. See, so it's just like he's a guy that's, anybody. If you're looking for a prototypical player, like you looking for somebody who can do everything that you ask for, Sam Hauser.
Someone brought up a good point in the chat for this game. I mean, obviously the Cleveland went up on a little heat check. Brandon, someone brought up, I forgot who said it in the chat. Maybe Bruce, you can find it. Someone said, why are we giving up open threes? What do you feel like the Celtics need to focus on for their defensive strategy? And I know you personally, you've always been somewhat of a defensive specialist when you want to, despite when Klingen's trying to block your shot, but that's a whole nother conversation. But
yeah,
tonight with trying to contain Cleveland.
Yeah, I think what they have to realize is it's a different team, and I think they just have to get that feel. Their team, they move the ball really well. They have a lot of playmakers, and they can get you when you're not at your best, or you're not thinking. That split second when you make that decision slower than what you should. Cavs, man, they're a good team, and they can get you. So I think it's gonna be something where you can't really make too many mental lapses. You can't have too many mistakes defensively. I think offensively, the Celtics are fine, but defensively. You always want to, give out a a play style or a play call or an idea to fix it. But honestly, it's energy and effort. And I think once they realize the game is going to be a game of runs, I think they'll calm down a little bit and kind of, sit down on those closeouts or times when they're giving up open threes.
You're mentioning energy and effort, and Jaylen Brown is doing that all in this first quarter. One of the best first quarter scorers in the NBA this entire season. Right now has 15 points for the Boston Celtics going into another gear here. Absolutely crazy. Still 4 minutes left in the first quarter. It'd be crazy to see him drop, 20 or even something like that just in the first. So Brandon, obviously we've heard, the critiques about Jaylen Brown from some of the fans and from the outside noise. I know as players you guys, tried to mind with it as much as not, but we've seen Jaylen Brown be very motivated in this second half, really picking up with this team and stuff like that. Is this shocking to you, or is this something that you expected? Because as a diehard Jaylen Brown fan, this is something that I expected from him to come up in the second half, really, really turn up for the Celtics team after getting that extension and really putting the league on notice for how great of a two-way wing he is. Because I think he's one of the best two-way wings. He's so great on defense, and he can get it to you on the rack and hit threes and do everything on the offensive side of the ball as well.
Yeah, I mean, and you have to look at him. When you just look at him, he's a freak of nature, So it doesn't shock me. I think we talked about briefly all the guys that I've played against, growing up. I was fortunate enough to play against Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown my freshman year of high school. Lost to both of them. They both went off. But even since then, I knew Jaylen Brown, was special, and there was some type of greatness that was going to come from, Jaylen Brown. And I just think right now he's hitting a groove to where he can show you guys what all he has, and he definitely has more. And as he's growing and as he's understanding, the game and himself and finding out, everything that he needs to learn to become that player that he can be, I think sky's the limit for him. So for every fan, that wants to critique him, I mean, there's things that every player needs to get better at, but he's done an amazing job at just holding on to who he is truly. Like you said, a defensive player, but also a great offensive player. And he's expanding his game and he's getting better. He's commanding. I was in practice and workouts with him, and he might not look like the most boisterous person, but I guarantee you, if you saw him in practice, you see how he connects with the guys, you see how he talks, you would be, blown away with how smart he is and how much he cares. And I think that can show how he's playing right now. But, as this series gets along and as the playoffs keep coming, I think you can understand that Jaylen Brown, he's not here to play. He's here for a serious business,
No, I know what you mean, and you mentioned, caring, and he does a lot for the city of Boston as well, helping out in the community. He's a very, very in-tap guy on the court, and, gives it his all. I know I mentioned how Marcus Smart's one of my favorite players. You see Jaylen Brown diving for those loose balls. You see him doing all the intangibles as well, so great things we love to see. Isaac, anything?
No, I mean, he hit the money on the head, because, I feel like Jaylen's so different when he practices the guy. I mean, look at obviously, tonight is looking like he's going to be the X factor for this. And I know I'm starting to see some of the stream comments that were coming up just on, I forgot one of them that came up talking about, maybe I've misread it, but with Jaylen, when it comes to Jaylen tonight, the way he's playing, I mean, he's leading the team. Slate, what do you think his biggest challenge would be for tonight to stay consistent? Is that what? Well, actually, let me rephrase that. Do you think that's his biggest challenge tonight, to keep that consistency where he doesn't have to turn up in the second half or try to make an opportunity for Derek White or Drew Holiday to take over?
Yeah, I mean, if he finds a way to keep this same, intensity and this same aggression throughout the whole game, I think it'll be a complete game changer. I don't think there's many guys in the NBA, period, that can do what he can do on the floor. So if he can keep, the energy and the effort and his aggression up throughout the entire game, I think that the Celtics don't really need anybody else to play outside of their mind. But if it does happen, it's a talented Celtics team. So if he's playing well and he's creating opportunity for other players to play well, and people are stepping up into their roles that they should, I think it's a great game. You would have to tell me when I wake up tomorrow, yeah, the Celtics did not get a good shot at this, or the Celtics got blown out. You'd have to pinch me. I don't know. I wouldn't believe it.
That's true. That's a good way that you. That's a good way that you brought that up. I mean, because I feel like the Celtics sometimes they don't play inconsistent, but like every now and then they do. They kind of play down to a team's level. But obviously the Cleveland Cavaliers, they can't play down to a level with them because the Cleveland Cavaliers have always been solid. I mean, there was almost a three-way tie for like first at one point in the Eastern Conference. But what are some things that you expecting to see just with any other players that I know that you've seen that you kind of been fascinated with in your first year in the league, being part of the Celtics organization? Like, is there anybody else that kind of caught your eye that you're like on the parent squad that's looking at like, oh, he might be a reason why they go all the way, or he might be the reason why they win certain key games like tonight. I mean, we just scored again. So is there anybody else that like kind of brings your mind other than obviously the big three of Drew Holiday?
Yeah. I think with I didn't even have to say Drew Holiday's name, and I probably should have said his name early in the stream, but having Drew Holiday is just.
I mentioned Luke Cornett.
We have gifts with the Celtics, but other than the big names that we all know of, I think even Derek White, even in his role, I think he's somebody that he could easily, separate himself and separate the team from the other team, like if he plays to his capabilities and he plays as well as he's been playing, I think the Celtics are a dynamic team and they're a very lethal team. When he's at his best, the Celtics are rolling, and I think they click and at a different frequency, So when you have guys like that, it's hard. It's hard to lose when you have a bunch of players who want to win,
Right. That's true. That's so true.
I got one question for you, Brandon, on the Derek White All-Star nod. We obviously heard that people were saying that he deserves to be an All-Star, people saying he doesn't deserve to be an All-Star. I think the stats clearly showed with his numbers and averages that he definitely deserved to be a top guy up there. What are your kind of thoughts on that?
100%. I thought he should have been an All-Star.
All right.
100%.
Our boy Reggie Miller was saying the same thing over on TNT. Was hyping him up. Everybody was hyping him up. I love to see Derek White. That's my grandma's favorite player. Ever since last year, she's been a huge Derek White fan. She's just, she got his little jersey T-shirt. She always be repping him. She wore it to the game and stuff like that. He's just a key contributor. And speaking of another key contributor, Luke Cornett, I know people were talking about in the chat. Isaac was brought up. He's playing really solid right now, doing some great job. And again, in Game 5 versus Bam Adebayo, put the clamps on him. I think he only allowed like 2 for 10 from the field in that game from Bam Adebayo. Absolutely insane.
Luke is amazing, yo. Luke, probably the nicest guy in the world, too. Probably the nicest person I've ever been around. Like, will greet everyone, will come in with a smile, gets his work done. He's so serious with his craft, but he makes it enjoyable, And that's somebody that you might meet him one time, but you feel like you guys are best friends after that. Mm-hmm. He's that guy that just leaves you, happy afterwards. And even when he plays, it's the same way. Like, dude, like you're infectious to how we're playing, and he's playing well. So, a guy like that is needed. A guy like that is special, and a guy like that is what puts you over the edge.
He just made another beautiful pass, and you talk about that energy, with like the little bird and all his just like fun little antics. He gets the he gets the team into it. You know what I mean? I know he also gets hyped for his boys as well, like when Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser or the bench mob goes off for their threes. You just love to see the team bond and the team culture, and obviously it goes from top to bottom with you guys too, with the main squad and all that type of stuff. It's absolutely amazing. I do have a question. Did you get to go to any of like the games with the Celtics or do anything like that? Like get to sit at any of the games? Yeah.
Yeah, I went to I think 3 games this year. It was one of them was Celtics and 76ers. Another one was I think we went to a preseason game. I can't remember. And then we went to the what team was that? Peyton Pritchard had 30 and 10. They were playing against
maybe it was Washington or no, that was last year I think that he
yeah. It might have been
Washington.
It might have been Washington. He had 30 and 10, and it was the easiest 30 and 10 I've ever seen. Like it was like in person, like you don't really see somebody command the floor like how he did, and he was just dogging everybody. Like get off me, step off, midi, step off, lay. Now I just made both of y'all look at me. I hit the guy in the corner. Okay, I just pivoted. Okay, there's somebody at the top. I'm gonna throw it to him now. And he made a few bounce passes that like went through like people's hands and feet, and he's amazing. He's amazing.
And like you mentioned, not just a great shooter, not just a great scorer, but a fantastic playmaker, a great guy who can set up the offense. I know a lot of key people from the Celtics fan base when the team can't get the offense set going, or if Drew or Derek isn't really bringing the ball up and they're kind of running through Tatum or Pritchard, they call for the Peyton Pritchard to get into the game to set up that offense just because he's so great at doing it. And he's also a clutch half-court shot type of guy. I know Jaylen Brown just took it to end the quarter there, but as you've seen as well, hits those deep contested threes, hits those, last-second shots as well for the Celtics, which is absolutely huge, too.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's so true. I mean, the only other person I can think that can hit deep threes like that is the person that's on this call right now because I've seen him do it. If he wants to, if he takes the shot, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Oh my gosh, they kill me with that. I gotta learn that. Just let that trigger fly,
Yeah, just let it fly. I mean, is that something? I know in the few instances that you got to go to the facility and see Joe, is that something that you've noticed? And obviously, as we end this first quarter, I mean, the Celtics are up by good reason about by 8. Obviously, Peyton hasn't really made that impact just yet. I mean, but is that something that you look at even to improve your game, like how some of these guys are just shooting, or like what can you kind of steal from that for next year?
100%. I mean, watching my teammates who are on the team, watching even Nemi took a 3 with us, and they called it a 2, but it was a deep 3. His foot was on the line. He cashed it. Seeing JD Davidson, how he improved his game completely from last year to this year. Jordan Walsh, one of the youngest players, just improving every game. And Drew Peterson, one of the smartest people I've played with. And all of those guys, how they take their shooting, they take it so serious that it makes you, realize why they're that good, But being at the facility, watching literally with my own eyes, watching Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard and Derek White and Jason Tatum and Drew Holiday and watching all of those guys and how serious, and Jaylen Brown, how serious they are when they're shooting, it's like one of the craziest things like you could ever see. Like they probably missed once or twice in a whole shooting workout. Do you understand how crazy that is in a 30-minute window of working out like this, where you miss twice, like once or twice?
It's called being a pro. That's amazing.
It's something to marvel at, and that's something that I think all of us, when we got to see that, we try to take that in and we try to replicate that.
That's something. Speaking of threes, someone just did you pin it, Bruce? Someone just said Slater for 3.
Yeah, I pulled up the comment. Someone was commenting Slater for 3, so I pulled it up on the stream so Slater could see it.
Oh yeah. And respect. Thank you for that.
Awesome. No, and stream, keep it coming with Slater's questions.
Of course.
like come and because I convinced him. I said, hey, like you should probably jump on this stream. He knows how you guys are all rowdy, and you guys gave me a lot of crap every now and then on what some of our YouTube videos and stuff. But Slate is here with us for at least hopefully for a good chunk of the game. I know he's still got to get ready for the summer league and early workouts because he's trying to be in Boston next year around this time, playing in playoffs, and hopefully give me courtside seats.
For sure. Here we get there for sure.
Yeah. So keep it coming with the questions. I mean, so obviously the Celtics just finished the first quarter, but 8-point game. So now we're seeing that Cleveland still got a little momentum. Based off the box score, based off how we're watching. Slate, what if you're in the huddle right now with Joe and the rest of the staff and your team? What's the mindset going into the second quarter?
I think going into the second quarter, I think it's Joe probably trying to, not even antagonize, but trying to find a way to just, light that fire. And once you light that fire underneath this Celtics team, it's hard for them to, have anything go against them. I'd say when that fire is underneath them, it's one of the most dangerous teams that we ever seen in NBA history. So
you're not wrong. When this team heats up, they torch other teams, and they do not slow down. They'll go at your throats, go at your necks, trying to just obliterate them with three-pointers. We saw that with the Heat series as well, not taking that gas off the pedal. And that's something that me and Isaac have been big proponents of during these streams is, not taking that gas off, just keep going at them. But we do have some good minutes here. Xavier Tillman is getting some minutes in this playoff game, which is nice to see here. And just made a nice layup as well. That is absolutely fantastic. He did get some run late in, Game 5. I talked about how he's one of my, favorite players on this team. Just love his style, love his effort that he, can bring to this team. Brandon, what do you think that he could, bring for this Celtics squad with, coming in, obviously, kind of halfway through the season, but now, getting some nice playoff run as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think David Tillman, I think he's done a great job at, finding his role really fast. I think that's rare. You don't really see somebody incorporate themselves in a team that late in the season and be this successful, And I think that's a tip of the hat to him himself, and I think how great the team already was and how, inclusive that they are. I mean, you could really see that all those guys care about each other and they care about winning. So I could see it myself that, Xavier Tillman is going to make a great impact with this team for however long he's in the game, when he comes back in or whenever they call his number,
And you mentioned, these guys finding their roles, and that's what I've really appreciated with this Celtics team this year. I feel like everybody on this team has a role. Like you mentioned, obviously, from top to bottom, obviously the stars like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they got to be the kind of guys that take off. But then, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, Derek White, who's going to be that third scorer of the night? Who's going to be that alpha dog on the defensive side? Then you look at the bench, who's going to step up and hit those threes? Who's going to go get those rebounds? But then even look down towards the bottom, towards the rotation, you guys look at O'Shea Brissett, guys like Svi Mykhailiuk. They know their role when they come in. If their number is called on, they're going to step up and be like that stay-ready group. So, Brandon, I have a kind of question for you. If you were on this team here, what would your role be for the Boston Celtics?
My role, shoot, whatever they want me to do. I say like this. I think on this team, they have so many great ball handlers. They have so many great shooters. They have so many great, guys who can attack the rim. I think, for me to get in there and probably have my focus on, shutting down either that primary ball handler, where you can see a Darius Garland kind of, switch stats, switch how a longer sized guy like I am guarding him and kind of giving him a hard time, or you could put me on to Donovan Mitchell if he's going crazy, or whoever you need me to shut down, you can put me on them because I'm going to try my hardest. Maybe they might get a few shots off, but hey, if you get 6 fouls, sometimes coaches can call a timeout and you can get subbed out. So I think I would play my hardest wherever this team needs me, to try to knock the other team out of a rebounding position or somebody's diving for the loose ball, I get on there first. Or if you need me to, just be on the bench, giving guys great energy, I do that too, happily. I think there's always room for a guy who wants to see people succeed.
And I love to hear that, and I'm sure all the Celtics fans in here love to hear that as well. And hopefully, through the next season and stuff like that, we get to see you be able to do that with this Celtics squad here in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they just went up, and you mentioned that you would like to be, if you were on the team right now, if you were picked up, to finish off the season, finish off the NBA year with the parent club, guarding the Darius Garland types. And I know you personally. I've seen you guard those smaller guards and contain them almost in that ice situation. And I'm sorry that this is the basketball nerd that you guys don't get to hear me talk about, but Brandon knows exactly what I'm talking about. So, Slate, we're talking in a scouting position right now. Would you switch if you had the guard Darius Garland, or are you just going to play straight up? And if they call a screen for it, if they call a screen off it, are you calling for help, or are you staying on? Are you staying on him the whole time? You're not switching.
Yeah, I gotta stay on him. If I give any type of uncertainty, he's gonna take that. He's one of the fastest people in the NBA.
Right.
So I can't have him in his mind think that he can beat me in any ISO situation. Even if he scores, I have to have him thinking, "Oh wow, that was tough." So the next time the ball gets to his hands, he's gonna call for a screen. Then once I, figure out how to guard him on a screen, and I, make that a little bit harder for him to maneuver, then it's okay. Well, maybe when I get the ball, it's going to be a quick reverse. And then once you get that in the offensive player's mind, that's when I think you've changed the style of how they were supposed to play.
Yeah. So you wouldn't even think about sagging off him just in case, like, if Donovan was on the other side trying to get you'd be like, no,
No, and until you now listen. If there's a rotation that needs to be had, okay, I would do that. But if there's any second that he has the ball, he has a free look at the basket, I think I'm doing my team a disservice.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, matchup wise, I mean, right now the Celtics are trying to pull away here. Not in a talking trash sense, and Bruce could probably agree with this because we were talking about matchups with Cleveland. And the Celtics. Is there a matchup problem, you think, with some of the guys, like even with your teammate, like Nemi is the closest teammate, one of your closest teammates on this team. Is there a matchup problem with him and Jared Allen if Jared Allen comes back, or with any other guys that you see that like could be a problem with the Celtics?
Honestly, with this team, I think they're just so talented offensively. I think I said it before, offense is just not the issue with them. And it just depends how much this team wants to guard defensively. I think, there's no true matchup problems you can say. I don't think you can look at the team, list for list, like, all right, this player on this player, he might have the upper hand. I just feel like I wouldn't say even, but I feel like there's a commonality between both teams, and I think that it would be a great job of somebody calling me. I think it would be like a great job of y'all good, a great job of like whoever is hot, you got to feed them, or we got to shut this person down and cut his water off. If we see him getting hot and we're on defense, if we see him getting hot, we got to cut his water off. If we're hot, we got to feed this guy, and we got to bring that energy. That energy has to be infectious to everyone. So, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, Bruce, does that give you a little more in-depth insight when it goes into an NBA scouting report? And I know Joe personally. I know Joe's scouts are strange, and I know Slate's probably had to sit in on a couple of them or seeing how that, because I know these guys are prepping for that transition if they get called up for the parent. I don't know if Bruce or anybody in the Celtics stream, did that give anyone a little insight right there, and had to test Brandon. Brandon is a student of the game, so we had to have that little moment there. Unfortunately, sorry, Slate.
Sorry if it's boring, but we love it. We love it.
As a basketball head, as a basketball junkie, like, you know what I mean? I always appreciate getting the inside information, trying to figure out everything, and just hearing all the intangibles that go through it, you know what I mean, and just getting like your understanding of what you have to go through and all that stuff, because that's really what goes with impact, like, you know what I mean, with like with evaluating and just like being a fan of basketball, you know what I mean, especially if you're a two-way guy and you're consistently going up and down, you know, playing with the, you know, smaller like with the G League obviously, but then having to just like go up for the games, you know, it's a lot of travel, it's a lot of stress on your body, so having to step up and be able to play in those big games, especially in the G League, when, you know, you're traveling with the team and coming back in the fourth, is huge, and definitely takes like more of a toll and gives me more of like an understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, and it looks like that understanding. I mean, it looks like the Celtics are just they're trying to pull away, but
Yeah.
Cleveland's not like they're not going away easy. And I guess that leads to another question for me, Slate. When you got a team like Cleveland that has a bunch of playmakers, like you mentioned earlier in the stream, they're not going away easy. Like, they're being relentless. Like, it's going back and forth. Obviously, based off the scoring and based off the scoring power, it's not exactly going back and forth, but Cleveland just hasn't found their rhythm. Like, they're getting the rhythm, then they're losing it quickly. But like they're making plays that still try to like make themselves active in the game to where like, okay, at some point the water's going to be back on and we're going to get back to what we're going to be doing. What's the best way to keep guys like that contained and stay like that the whole time defensively? As a two-way guy yourself that has been taught from Jay Wright and down and up, from Jay Wright to Coach Glenn Farrell from Ball of Six and even to the legendary Keith Stevens, what's one team to keep those teams out of the way?
Yeah, I think as a defensive-minded team and a hard-nosed, hard-playing team, you just can't give anybody easy looks, you know? Teams are going to go on their runs. Teams are going to, you know, find a way to at least, you know, make a push at trying to, you know, take a lead or anything. And it's the playoffs. There's an added energy in there. So I think you have to just make sure there's no easy looks. Somebody's going to score. Somebody is going to have an advantage at some point, you know? But the biggest thing is you just got to make sure that's limited in the amounts of you get one every 5 possessions where somebody has an easy look, or one every 3 possessions where they just totally, you know, just basically, you know, babied our defense. You know, you can't have those things really happen. And great teams like the Celtics, or great teams that we've seen in the past, they've been able to realize what they can do to kind of cut that water off and kind of just, you know, shut down somebody's offense.
Mm-hmm.
Not to kind of go off topic, Brandon, but I just thought of something that I wanted to bring up. So obviously we all know that Al Horford is kind of the veteran for this Celtics squad here, but you guys had a veteran on your team in Maine with Tony Snell, you know, obviously having that NBA experience. Unfortunately was unable to get that, you know, NBA contract, but, you know, was a great guy to help out in the locker room, a great guy to have with this Maine Celtics team. Could you kind of go in a little bit in depth on like how much of a veteran presence he brought for this team and how impactful he kind of was for this Maine Celtics, for if some of the fans that if they didn't really watch the team?
Yeah, I mean, Tony Snell he's the greatest teammate I've ever been around. You know, I said everything about Luke Cornett and how he's an amazing guy, the nicest person. Tony Snell, I just happened to be his teammate, so I was around Tony more than I was around Luke. Tony Snell is the greatest teammate I've ever been around. Tony Snell is one of the greatest people I've ever been around, one of the greatest fathers I've ever been around, then one of the greatest brothers and husbands I've ever seen. You know, Tony Snell is like the total package of a person and a professional and somebody who carries themselves the right way. And I think, you know, good things will happen, you know, in his life because he's so genuine and he's so, you know, almost perfect in a way. Because it's you don't get to have somebody who's willing to sacrifice the way he did this season. You know, he could easily tuned out, you know, the team and focused on what he needed to do to, you know, provide for his family. He could have easily felt at some point that, you know, my career is is now on the decline. He could have easily felt, I'm now fighting for a spot on a G League team when I've been in the NBA for 9 years. He could have easily been selfish at trying to get his own, but he never, and I say never, he never showed any frustration. He never showed any sense of selfishness. He never showed any sense of like not wanting to be there. And you rarely find a person like that. You rarely find a player like that, and you rarely find a leader the way he led us. And I think him being that voice in the locker room and him telling us and checking in on us and making sure everybody on the team is good, making sure everybody on the coaching staff is good, making sure our strength and conditioning people are good, making sure that our trainers are good. Like, he talks to everyone and has his own conversations with everyone every single day. It's mind blowing to me. And the fact that he was so willing to do it, it wasn't fake. He didn't force it. He's just that open. He's that nice. He's that caring. He's that loving. And having that and being an amazing basketball player is one of the greatest blessings I ever had in my basketball life,
That was awesome. And I know Bruce has learned that you've seen a lot of people in your young you're playing for a Hall of Fame coach and Hall of Fame teammates, and you're part of a very, very successful Villanova family. That's a privilege. And to say that about Tony Snell, someone that you've only got to know for this year, that's and I know you, and I'm like, oh wow, that's crazy. And someone you just said someone I know Bruce has probably just kept it up for you to see this. Dwayne Dodson said that's really cool. Listen to somebody who's been in the game. I couldn't imagine playing the NBA when I was younger. Slate, I've known you pretty much a good chunk of your life. I know this has always been a dream. I'm gonna be honest, because I know you. It always wasn't the Celtics, but it was always to get to the league.
It always wasn't, honestly. and he knows this, but not too many people know this. My dream when we were younger, my dream was to be a George Mason Patriot. Like that. I didn't even care about the NBA. I didn't care about anything. I just wanted to be a Patriot so bad, man. And I thought that was the end all be all. Like, those guys were my Michael Jordans and my Magic Johnsons, my LeBron James, my Kobe Bryants. Like, I didn't think of basketball at this level and playing with those guys until I probably got to high school. I'm like, oh, basketball is serious. Like, basketball is something that I can, take further than just 5 minutes down the road at a college that, it might not have the highest caliber player that you can play against or play with. And there's no nod to George Mason not being there. George Mason was my end all be all.
If you grew up in Northern Virginia, everyone was like, hey, what do we got to do to be part of Coach L's team and try to win a CAA title?
Yes.
Richmond, jamming on the James and trying to get a CAA title. And then obviously football changed everything. Mason left. And then Slate, you became who you were in high school, where Mason didn't even have a chance to sniff you.
It was crazy. I think I probably played a team camp one time there, and you get recruited, but then
they're like, nope, we're never gonna do it. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, they're like, we're not even gonna waste our time. But I mean, they have great coaching staff now, and they have our guy Tony Skinner up in there, so it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, it is amazing. So I mean, for Dwayne, someone's just Tony Snell's ball, and obviously he's a great human, but to Dwayne and anyone who's asking, just with vast experience, Slate was not thinking the NBA. Nah, kind of want to be a college star and just see where that goes. But I mean, obviously you are wearing green, so you did get that to fill that dream. I
got the green.
You never wore green throughout your high school or college basketball career, so you did get to fulfill that part. You did get to wear some of the green. Now, is it George Mason green and gold? No, but it is that Celtic green, and that's probably a little more historic and a little means more.
It'll suffice.
It'll suffice. It'll fill that void.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it looks like the Celtics are taking away that lead, going 57-44. I mean, Bruce, any quick questions for Brandon? Just talking about this, how this game's going exactly how I almost expected. Just
Yeah.
8-10 point game. Cleveland still's got a little legs in them from Game 7. They got a little momentum. I mean, how are we feeling, guys?
I'm feeling good right now. I think that, like, we look at this chat here from Rob, he's saying that the Celtics got to create some separation here and get this into double digits. But he also mentioned that the Celtics were hitting a lot of their shots, saying that, this team, they're just missing some of their shots. They're outplaying this Cleveland defense. So I do believe that if this team can get some of their shots going on the offensive side, we'll be able to help out. And Luke Cornett is an absolute beast right there. That shit is going to be a green light special, I think, right here. They're going to reverse that. Because Luke Cornett just got a clear tip in, and I think they're gonna call it a foul or something like that.
Slate, how do you feel about that kind of comment that you see that the fans say? What's your reaction to that?
Say that one more time.
So what's your reaction to, like, when you see fan comments like that are kind of that know the game? And I'm not saying that our fans don't; they do know the game. But Bruce, you want to bring up that last comment just so Slate can see it, because that's actually a good point. I'd love to see your thought process when it comes to that.
So it says, I'd like to see the C's create some separation, need to go on a run to close the second and push this lead to double digits. What clears now is that Cleveland can't guard us, that we're just missing some shot opportunities.
What's your reaction to that from a player that that's seen the league, and what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good assessment of how you watch the game, and that means you really do care about basketball at firsthand. And I think that, if the C's don't make too many mistakes defensively, and, they find the right guys in the right situation offensively, and they take that lead going into the second half, I think the game definitely could look really, really good for the C's, in the second half. So I think that's a great way of, breaking down that game. And I don't have anything to say that you said wrong. I can't even say that. So that's a great assessment, and from a fan, man, you know the game. So,
hey, Rob, version 1, you've just gotten fire points. You can set the fire button. You got some. In the association, you should take that as a win. You should take that as a big win tonight. That's awesome. That he said, I completely agree with you.
Rob's one of our great supporters over here, Brandon. He's been with us since day one of the OGs, so definitely giving him some props is definitely going to make his night. He's tuning in from the Philippines. We got people all over the world, Brandon, tuning into this. Yeah, it's crazy. We got people from the Philippines. We got people from Portugal. We've had people from Ireland. We have people all around the world tuning into the stream, hanging out tonight, watching it. Not just the people centralized in Boston hanging out at home.
That's crazy. That's wild. You guys are doing it big, man. I'm proud of y'all, man.
Thank you. I mean, thank you so much for coming on here. And again, I appreciate it so much, just being able to have you and be able to talk to you and break down this, this first half and break down this game. It's been absolutely fantastic.
I mean, it's looking fantastic. I mean, they're still up by like 10. The way this game's going, I mean, Slate, what would you see? I mean, obviously you can't coach. You're not a coach yet. I mean, I don't know if that's in your second life. We don't know that yet. We're still trying to figure out this first life of playing.
Right.
If you were Joe, or if you were Jason Tatum, and you want to extend this lead, how are you attacking the ball? Oh, JT's on fire. Here we go. So he's already. Do you think he's attacking the way you think JT's attacking it, just from being with him in practice? I have a feeling Joe put you on him whenever the times you guys did have to go down to the facility.
The only times when they was around, I wasn't allowed to, because I was still medically not cleared, so I wasn't allowed to. Man, so I wish that would have set it off for me. But I think he just has to stay aggressive. Like, you miss one, doesn't matter. You make one, keep going. And just stay in that mindset where you're not even looking up at the clock. You're not even worried about, all right, I'm a little tired. The game is looking a little bit longer. My legs hurting a little. He can't even think about that. Just stay in that mode where you're aggressive. Even if you're not making the shots, it's gonna come, and at some point when you're Jason Tatum, it's gonna look a little different, on the floor when you're on and nobody can guard you, nobody can contest you, nobody can defend you. You changing the offense for the whole team. So I think he just has to stay in that mode, attack mode.
That's true. And as we approach halftime, I mean, you might as well add on to these halftime thoughts, Bruce. What Slate said, he brought up a great point. And any of the fans, please ask questions, blow it up.
Yes.
He's here.
Ask the questions for Brandon here as we kind of look at the halftime here. Again, like you mentioned, the Celtics. It's been a closer game here with the Cavaliers than we've seen with the Miami Heat games. The Cavs going on some little runs, the Celtics fighting back on some runs. Donovan Mitchell slapping the floor with 13 seconds left, ensuring that he's going to try to lock up Derek White here as the half goes out here. But we've seen some great performances from the Celtics here. Jaylen Brown has over 20 points in the first half. Jason Tatum has over 11. I'm just seeing some great shot selection with this team. Got to be able to hit some more shots and be able to stop Donovan Mitchell again. Brandon brought it up how he's just such a fantastic offensive creator for this Cleveland Cavaliers team. Just can basically turn up at any single moment, take this Cleveland Cavaliers team, put them on their back if he needs to. With no Jared Allen, I would like to see this team prioritize some shots in the paint. They have done that, but I'd like to see them attacking more. Is there anything that you guys have noticed from watching the game or breaking anything down? I'm going to see if I can find some of the stats.
I'll let Slate go through that based off the stats and based off how he feels. You can answer that first, brother.
Yeah, I think it's just just get it once you and it seems weird when I'm gonna say it. Just having people touch the ball a little bit more. Just if you get a few more ball reversals here and there, I think that's when you create that split second of decision that it might slow a defender down. And I think that when you win that 1 out of every 3 possessions where you can make a team rotate, and they forget for 1 second that somebody's in the corner. I think that's when you create easy looks, you create easy opportunities, and I think that's when you can go on those runs.
Talk about ball movement. The Celtics are one of the best at moving the ball around the 3-pointer at the perimeter with with the main Celtics, with the Boston Celtics. So I would agree with that. Having those 3 to 4 passes around the perimeter really lets that Cavs defense possibly slip up or allow an open shot in the 3-point corner. And if it's Drew Holiday, as we know, he's shooting around 60% from the corner, it's most likely going to go in. So you got to be able to stay attached with that. But looking at the stats here for the Celtics, Jaylen Brown, 20 points, 4 rebounds. Jason Tatum, 11 points, 8 rebounds. Derek White has 11 points. Holiday has 4, 1 and 2 with a steal. And Luke Cornett off the bench, 2 points, but 8 rebounds and 1 assist. You mentioned how Luke has been, one of those guys who gets the energy going, gets the hype going. You think he's having some jokes, having some fun in the locker room, getting the team hyped up right now? Or you think it's serious mode with Joe in the locker room for the halftime?
Yeah, it might be a little serious because, the game's a little bit closer, but I have no doubt that, those guys, they want to win, and they're in there and they're, pumping each other up, trying to get each other to go.
Exactly. And then when we look at the Cavs here, for them, Donovan Mitchell has 17, Isaac Okoro 11, Evan Mobley 4 and 9 with 2 assists, Darius Garland 7 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and Max Strus 3 points, shooting 1 for 4 from the 3-point range. So Max Strus not coming out and being a lethal 3-point shooter as he has been with the Miami Heat, with the Boston Celtics, which is a nice little sign.
That's interesting. And Slate, did you play against Max Strus when he's at DePaul?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, snap. He gave us 30.
Oh, man. What?
Dog, any player on this team is giving my team fits, man. Now, Max Strus that year at DePaul, I was a freshman. So that year, man, he was killing it in the Big East, man. It was amazing. He is talented. So there's no doubt in my mind that, he's getting here because he is all of an NBA player, athletic, talented, can shoot, can play defense. He listens, he's coachable. So I think that's a guy that, he was destined for this,
Mm-hmm. That I just realized, I'm like, pretty sure Max. Yeah. But I know, because I watched that freshman year. You didn't get in a lot, but I know got in a little bit. You got to see. Yeah, he gave you a little taste of what college basketball was like. So I know that name probably gave you a little PTSD.
Man, like as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, I forgot about him. Yeah, he used to give us fits. Like I ain't even gonna. Some people might lie about stuff like that. I ain't gonna lie. Man. We won the game. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, it's a little different when you got Max Strus, working how he was working in them games.
And now you see him. But Bruce, go ahead. I saw that you were about to say something.
Well, I got two things to say. One, I have my own question, then we have a question from the chat. So first, we're going to get to the question from the chat from Charles Miller, who had to ask Brandon, what was it like to have Nemus to work with and play alongside Nemus? I know we kind of got into that a little bit here, but if you could go for Charles, how it was playing with him.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, playing with an NBA player, with having two ways and having assignment guys, but playing with somebody who is a 100% NBA player, like Nimi is athletic, block shots, rebounds, probably has the quickest second jump I've seen out of a big man and out of people in general. I mean, has great footwork and pass the ball really well, smart, like he knows the game. He knows where to be at. He affects the game in so many levels. I've seen him dive on the floor. I've seen him pick the pocket of a point guard, like a 5'10", 5'11" point guard. Like I've seen him pick him up 94 feet and slide him one time and steal the ball from him. Like Nimi is a hustler. He's a player. He's a competitor. And it was amazing playing with him. And I was blessed, to have him up there,
Exactly, and we're blessed to have him on the Celtics now with the team. But my question to you is not to kind of go off topic, but talking about some Villanova guys. I know we kind of broke that down. From being at Seton Hall, from watching you play those couple years, I've seen, a lot of NBA guys play with you, from Colin Gillespie, obviously, to, Sadiq Bey, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, Cam Whitmore. So my question to you is who do you think was the best teammate that you had that you played with at Villanova?
Ooh, I can answer this because I'm not going to answer it. I'm not. Slater already thinks I already know what I'm going to say, but that's about a bias. But I'm not going to say it.
It might be a little biased. What you thinking? I have my ultimate. I have my ultimate player, and I'm gonna say Colin Gillespie.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Colin Gillespie is probably you have the Scotty Reynolds, Kerry Kittles, Kyle Lowry's, Scotty Reynolds, did I say him? Jalen Brunson, Ryan Arcidiacono, but he's right up there with them, like he is all of Mr. Villanova, like the greatest point guard that was in our era. He won Player of the Year twice in the Big East, was All-American, was all this, all that, was Point Guard of the Year, like the same thing that you seen Jalen Brunson do, I seen Colin Gillespie do. And he's so talented. I won't say anybody's better or worse than anybody, but I'll say that Colin Gillespie was the best teammate I ever had. And my other answer that I would give you, I would say my other answer of the best teammate that I've ever played with or ever had anybody on the floor with, I gotta give it to my dog, Justin Moore, man. Like Justin, I've been playing with Justin since I know him. So I've known Justin almost my whole life, probably 3 or 4 years while I ain't know him. So Justin Moore, I mean, I grew up with him. He's been on my team since we was 9 years old. So we get each other. We understand each other. We know each other's weaknesses. We know each other's strengths. We know how to get each other going, and I think, having him, and he was the same type of all defensive, all first team, all American. He's all that as well. So it's like, I was blessed to every year I've seen somebody. I've seen from the beginning when you can I went to the practices after I committed when I was practicing with Jalen Brunson and Phil Booth and then Colin Gillespie and then Justin. Like I've had even Chris Arcidiacono, which a lot of people will not, acknowledge. He was a amazing point guard. Like I've been blessed to have so many people, kind of be there and show you the way. Like usually at Villanova, you have a big man who wins rebounding, who gets all the rebounds in practice and who at the end of the day, you'll look at the stat sheet and be like, gosh, he had how many rebounds? I can tell you, Colin Gillespie had two hands full of games, practices, days where he is the leading rebounder at his height, and that's somebody who will bite your foot off if he has to win a game. And I think that's somebody that I've learned so much from, and I'm glad that I learned.
No, I know what you mean. Being a Seton Hall, alum, obviously watching you guys play, Colin Gillespie used to have the Seton Hall fans absolutely in shambles every single time. It was just Kid Colin. I remember there was a year where he was gonna enter the transfer. He was gonna go to the draft, or he was gonna come back. Everyone's like, "Just please, can you go?
Please leave.
Please leave." And then he comes back, and we're all like, "No, we gotta deal with him again." Like, oh, he was just an absolute fantastic point guard, obviously, like you mentioned. Justin Moore, again, another great, talented defender, alongside with you guys in Villanova, having that just absolutely fantastic. And just, Villanova just produces great talents. Obviously, with that great head coach in Jay Wright, just having that great championship runs and obviously getting to be part of that great family is just absolutely fantastic. And to play in a talented division in the Big East as well with all these great programs, especially with now UConn, getting bigger and stuff like that. The Big East is just continuing to grow and continuing to get better and just have more expansion, which you must be ecstatic about as well to have that.
I'm excited. I think the Big East is the best, conference in the country. People can always, argue and say that these teams have this many people who go to the tournament, have this many people in the top 25. But when you look at the end of the day, there's always somebody from the Big East making a deep run into the tournament every single year. The only difference is we beat up on each other the whole time in conference play. So you guys don't see how talented, how great, how gritty Big East teams are,
No, I know.
And it shows, sorry to cut you off, and it shows, that grittiness is shown in the league. Like I can count how many Villanova guys right now that are, obviously we can see the Villanova effect with the Knicks. And the only reason why the other third honorable mention team, I would say this, that you play with, but you've known him for a long time, Sadiq Bey.
Like I was gonna say it. The only reason why I ain't say Sadiq, I only played with Sadiq for 2 years, even though I play with him, outside of this and growing up and all that. But Sadiq Bey, was by his second year the best player in college basketball. I don't think people might have averaged a little bit more. People might have, but Sadiq, from watching what he was in high school as a senior, to see all the work he put in our freshman year, and then to see all the work he put in our second year, he was the most tenacious, hardworking. He was the most competitive player that I had on that team. We had dogs on that team, and Sadiq was the top dog. It was, I said Colin Gillespie, that Jeremiah Robinson Earl. We had Justin Moore. We had great players all around us. Damian Cosby Roundtree, Jermaine Samuels, who I didn't name, who's one of the greatest rebounders that we've had at Villanova. We Eric Dixon. I've seen it all. And Sadiq Bey, when the ball was tipped in practice or the ball was in play, wanted to destroy you. and I was so glad I got to play with that.
We see all this, all your former teammates and your OGs, as we referred in the college basketball world. When I was at West Virginia, we always talked when you talk about OGs and stuff like that are in the league or doing those big things. Slate, you see obviously your three main OGs, Dante DiVincenzo, Hart, and Jalen Brunson, killing it on the other side, on enemy territory in New York. What are we thinking? How that's gonna how do you think they match up with the Celtics? If in we're predicting that obviously the Celtics versus Knicks for the conference finals. How are we looking at that?
I think oof, that would be tough for me to see, like
Yeah.
seeing JB, seeing Dante, seeing Josh like do well is something that I want. I want to see them do well. I want to see them, compete. I want to see them be the best players they can be. But at the same time, like Celtics, I want the Celtics to win. I want them to win. I want them to be successful. I think me being a part of this organization, I owe the organization, a little bit of that. Hey, like I want to see us do well. I wasn't able to get us the championship in the G League, but I want to see the championship still be in Boston. Still be with the Celtics. So I want them to do well. They're my guys, but me as a competitor, I'm a Celtic, so I gotta go for the Celtics.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we like. That's what we like to hear over here. Obviously we rocking with the green and gold. I got my Ray Allen jersey on, the 2008 retro one. You got any? Obviously, I know you got your main Celtics your stuff, but you got any Celtics jerseys? Any trades? Anything like that with any of the guys? Or
I think I still got to get some jerseys. We had to leave pretty soon after the championship, so there's a lot of things that we haven't gotten, or a lot of things that still need to be counted before I guess we get them back. But shoot, I definitely want to get I think I have one. Let me try to find it.
Oh, he's gonna show it out, guys.
Yeah, here we go.
You keep those questions coming from Slate.
Yeah, you got to keep those questions coming.
Do we have any more questions coming up? I mean, I didn't get to see. I can't see the stream, but
I'm looking here. I don't see any on the moment. People are saying they're talking about Hustle, talking about JT. JoJo challenged the Luke tip in the offensive interference. That's what I was talking about earlier. Hoping to see attack Garland in the third.
Back with the awesome one.
Exactly. Rob's got the great basketball mind from the Philippines. He's at work too. It's 8:20 in the morning for our boy Rob over there.
Oh wow!
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, he's gonna be freaking out when he hears that. This and he's watching our stream and watching the game. That is dope. That is dope.
Exact. Shout out to Rob. We get to have the fantastic family over here on Celtics Digest. If you guys are enjoying the stream, if you guys are enjoying hanging out here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as always.
Oh.
I got our shorts, man.
Okay.
You have to keep the away team shorts?
Man, I think we had to wash a lot of stuff, and we had to, we sweat. We're smelly people.
Right.
I also got another question, Brandon. So, as a hooper, obviously, what is your go-to sneaker of choice? What is your brand that you rock, or go-to shoe that you like? Because as a fellow sneakerhead, I gotta ask you this question.
All right, so me and Isaac, we're from the DMV, and let's see if I can show y'all this. I am a proud person who will rep, New Balance to the fullest.
Mm-hmm.
That's like 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes of New Balance.
You just made a massive man very happy right now.
Like 6, 7, 8. I have, probably like 12 pairs of New Balances. Like, let me see if I there we go.
Those look like a nice Volt color.
Yep. The green, I had to do it.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I want to be sponsored by New Balance. I grew up, heavy on New Balance, and it makes my feet feel really good while I'm playing in it. I had to see what shoe would work best for me. I had to see, and I had to play in all of them to really give it a good assessment. And I just came to to the conclusion that, wearing some 990s off the court and then
Oh my God.
putting these on, like I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.
Gosh.
Nah,
And
no.
for those who know what Brandon's talking about, where we're from in the DMV, New Balance, it's always been New Balance is our shoe. I know a lot of people think it's a Massachusetts thing, New England thing. It is not just only a New England thing. The DMV is always wearing the 990 or some type of New Balance.
I wish I was lying, man. I wish I was New Balance.
And it's all we rocking off the court because Slate wore majority Nike from
Yep.
I want to say like 9th grade, even to your last year of college. You wore Nike.
Yeah, man. I wore Nike my whole life. These are New Balance shoes right here.
Yeah. No,
Man,
we always New Balance in the DMV.
rock New Balance. Got to.
Got to. And as we get this third quarter started, I mean, obviously the Celtics have a New Balance partnership to where like their fan gear is New Balance related because it's the state of Massachusetts pride and joy. That's not Celtics basketball. Red Sox is New Balance. I mean, this third quarter is coming off to a good start. Rob, while you were gone, our guy in the Philippines, who I think you might have made his day. I don't know. He's at work right now, 8 in the morning.
Oh, really?
Watching the stream. Slate, he was talking about the second half being a slugfest. Based off the
slugfest.
Yeah, being a slugfest defensively. What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree with that based off the scoring, or just what's your thoughts on that going through that?
All right, so before I say that, this is gonna be my last question, then I gotta go.
No worries.
Okay.
I want to thank you guys so much, for having me on here, and I really appreciate it. And hopefully, I could do another one. I could join y'all at another time,
Of course.
another day.
Whenever you would love to hop on, we're always welcome to have you back on. We appreciate you so much for coming on here.
Yeah, for sure. And I say it's gonna be, whether the both teams like it or not, it's gonna be a slugfest. Everybody's throwing haymakers. They want to see who can go down first and who can quit. And I think, whoever at the end of the day doesn't quit first, I think that's who will be victorious.
That's true. I mean, you're absolutely right. And I know you got to go, Slate. I will. Obviously, you know me. I always got to get. You'll hear from me in a little bit, in a while. But appreciate you, Brandon Slater, Maine Celtics, Eastern Conference champ, joining us. He's got to get to bed because he's got to grind, ready to go. So he's not even going to finish the game. I feel like I know his trainer. He's going to bed. He's going to bed. If I'm allowed to say that, he's going to bed, and I know if Chauncey, if he ends up seeing the stream, we didn't keep him up too much. So, but no, Slate, appreciate you always, and thank you, Celtics fans that are around the world, including like Rob version 1 coming from the Philippines, interacting with Slate. Trust me, he loves it. I know him. I know he loved it. So,
yeah, I appreciate everybody, man. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Once again, thank you for coming out here. I hope the Celtics fans enjoyed your presence, and if you ever want to come back on the stream again, would love to have you here. So just let Isaac or myself know, and we could always have you as another guest appearance.
All right, bet.
Of course.
Slate, you know I'll find you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That was awesome. All right, let me just switch over the duo live, and I'll get you fixed here, Isaac, and then we'll be back to normal.
Yes,
as you guys know, that was awesome. Shout out to Isaac here for having Brandon actually come on the stream and be a part of this again. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, he's always been Slate's he's always been someone I've always thought about trying to bring onto the channel, and he's someone that loves being around people. He was like that at Villanova. To be honest, I've practically known him my whole basketball life since we were 5-6 years old. Since I was 8, and since he was 6, trying to play with 8-year-olds. I've always known that he'd love doing stuff like this. When I texted him, I asked him thought he was gonna be a little too busy. He's like, dude, he said, hell yeah. He's like, I want to do this. He's like, I want to do it. He said, it's fun. He said, I want to enjoy this NBA life because he doesn't know how long it's going to be. So for those guys in the stream, and obviously they're zooming in, trying to get me fixed and trying to go back to that. No, he's not doing it for lip service. He really means it. He's a guy that's he's really enjoying his first year being part of an NBA organization because he's taking the blessing of it. So he's basketball is taken to a lot of places that we can only dream of.
Exactly, and like I said, it was just awesome to actually get to meet him, talk to him, and especially since I got to see him play at Villanova, obviously that was also like a cool little, not like Easter egg, but little like side thing as well. You know what I mean? Getting to talk about those players and teammates that he got to play alongside, because I also got to see some of those guys play, and contribute for those teams. So that was also very, very fascinating as well. But as we get this back set up here, if you guys have any thoughts, any comments, leave them down below. Do have 2 questions for you before we leave. Do you know what Slater's size is? That's what Charles was wanting to know. Do you know by chance?
I want to say it's a 14.
14. All right.
Some shoes?
Yes, shoes.
Send him in some shoes? I mean, I'll let him know. I'll send him in a I'll send him a
All right, and then we got another one that was someone had a question, Rob. What was the geekiest non-basketball thing that he liked? Was it WWE, anime, comics, Star Wars? I don't know if Brandon was just all basketball, but
I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, that's something we can probably ask him next time he does come on.
Awesome.
I'm pretty sure it's anime.
Awesome. I mean, I'd love to talk about that. That'd be great. I just recently got into anime myself. Actually, my friends have got me into it over the last year, and I found some good shows.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it was anime, but Brandon likes music too.
Ooh,
so,
okay.
like, he's really into music. So, like, he loves listening to all types of music. Like, I'm telling you, like, his playlist is probably a mixture of what you think of NBA players would be, a lot of hip hop, rap, but he's shocked at what he listens to. So it's probably anime and music.
Okay. You big into music?
Who, me? Yes.
So my question is, not to go off topic here, but Drake and Kendrick with a little beef here. What's going on?
Metro 1. Metro 1. You don't make a beat like that out of the random on a Sunday and just say, we're just, the Metro 1. Not even Kendrick 1 too, but like Metro really won, because now Metro potentially, depending on who hops on it and makes a great lyric, and I'll leave it at this, has the song of the summer. Eventually, that is going to be the song of the summer.
Exactly.
Whatever festival that's already happened, the Coachella's already happened. Whatever festival that happens next, like Metro 1. And I'm only praying that Kendrick's on that beat.
That's what I'm hoping too.
If Kendrick's on the beat, Kendrick has the song of the summer.
Song of the summer, yeah.
Just listen to what the instrumental of the song of the summer is going to be. And even Drake's like, you really made a song about, like, you chef the song about my butt. And he's like, yeah. And that is now going to be the song. That might be song of the year.
Yeah.
That might be legitimately song of the year, just based off how social media took it. It's like, oh my God, wow. It's really catchy. It's easy. Yeah, no, Metro 1. The Metro 1 everything.
Metro for the W. Metro always has, the good albums. I'm a big listener to the Metro Boomin albums with all those, unique artists coming in on those beats. I'm a big, I would say I like the lyrics, but I'm a big beat guy. You know what I mean? The beat makes the song for me. If I'm liking the beat, I'm most likely liking the song. But Charles wanted to say here that it was great to hear from a player here. So if you want to let Slate know that as well, that
I'm
did enjoy.
And he really appreciated. He was so excited to do this a couple days ago when I asked him. He was like, Charles, I mean, trust me, he appreciates you guys, because a lot of the G League guys don't get the NBA love and experience like they do, but he got a little bit of both, because he got to play in outside of his parent market. So although it's bad that he's not always with the main Celtics team, like the parent club, he got to feel what it's like to have, where you're not being shared by like the main team. You are being you are the team in Maine, and Oklahoma City got to feel that. Sioux Falls got to feel that. I'm trying to think of the other G League teams that also got to feel that as well. The team in Mexico, Rio Grande, that where they're like the main attraction, to where like, they get passed off. But Slate got to really feel, especially playing for the G League championship. That's huge. So no, for the fans out there that are asking, yes, I'll try to get Slate those answers, and maybe we'll get it answered in a later video or in a stream. Hopefully he has time to come back up. But the guy, next time you guys will see him on the court is in the NBA Summer League. I'm assuming for the Celtics. Yep. He is on the Summer League team. Unless some bearing trade or movement of rights happen right after the NBA draft. But which I hate to say it, knowing his skill set and how they played, I could see it actually honestly happening. And thank God we didn't talk about that. But Yeah, no, I'll try to get Slate on to me here again. I mean, he was a great guy.
For sure, yeah, it was awesome. Like I mentioned, it was just great to have that experience. Great to have that back and forth conversation. He brought some great things about the main Celtics, talking about from Tony Snell to his teammates, talking about Villanova days, talking about his bond with Nemi, and then talking about some of the guys on the Celtics. So he brought a great perspective of everything that we wanted to hear, which was absolutely fantastic here. As we look at the comments, though, Derek White is the best player on this team. Talking about how the Celtics went nuts. We got one from Rob saying that D. White will be the Eastern Conference or Finals MVP. He's declaring it right here, calling it. Donovan getting away with a couple of push-offs. If they're letting that go, need to see more JB and JT bully ball inside to draw two. I hope we win.
That's like a hot take, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Derek White for Eastern Conference. That actually, if you asked that earlier, Rob, I mean, Slate could have gave you a great answer for that. Because I don't think, I mean, wouldn't mind seeing it, but I don't think he would see it. I don't know. Knowing Brandon, I don't think he would say Derek White would, unless he played outstanding like he's playing right now. I don't know.
I think that if he is able to do it, he's going to have a very impactful series where he's going to have games like he did in Game 4 and Game 5 for the Celtics, where he's going to have to single-handedly win those games to be able to win that Finals MVP or Eastern Conference Finals MVP, because I do think, like you mentioned, the Jays, possibly even Porzingis, I think, have the higher odds of winning it.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I was thinking Porzingis, if he stays healthy and does what he needs to do, especially that New York game, if they end up playing New York in the Eastern Conference Finals, yeah, they're gonna. Like, I don't know whether they want to boo Kristaps, because Kristaps didn't want to leave New York and stuff like he had to.
Yeah.
So like, because I feel like it was up to Kristaps, he would be either in a Celtics uniform or a New York uniform right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah.
I think that's why. I mean, who ultimately chose Boston because he felt like this was the best opportunity to win. I know that Utah with Danny Ainge was another team that was interested in trading for him when Boston was, but he was more inclined to go to Boston for their winning tendencies and having the higher chance of winning. Dwayne's talking about the offensive rebounding being awesome. Leon Poe is at the game from BX. Darius Garland just got hit in the face, fell down for a little bit. I just saw that. We got Anyana saying that the Celtics are going crazy, dropping some W's with some Shamrocks. Dwayne just listening to talk about basketball. Garland's injured. Let's see. Emmanuel's calling Tatum an average player at best.
Whoa. More hot takes. That's a little crazy.
Yes, more hot takes here. Here we go.
Average player. We don't have to do all that.
Nah, he's been playing great. And JB just got a nice bounce pass to Drew for the layup. The Celtics, Isaac, we've been mentioning it. I know with Slater being in here, it was supposed to be a live watch along, but talking and doing all that stuff, I'd rather prioritize that. Don't want to waste, his time, just rambling about the game and kind of doing that. So I liked how we prioritized that and made that, that stream about him. But now that we kind of have this left 16 point lead here for the Boston Celtics in the third quarter, outscored the Cleveland Cavaliers in every quarter as well. I mean, second quarter was a little lackluster from both teams, 19 and 15 scoring wise respectively, where both teams are outscoring each other right now in the third with 4 minutes left. But is that a... Sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm trying to think about it because, I mean, like I said, like someone in the chat, Rob said, like, oh, it's a slugfest. Yeah, but you can sometimes break away after slugfest. And this is what I was telling you even Slate got on the call, even before Slater got on the call too, that, or when he got on the call, one or two things are happening. Cleveland's going to show that they still got some energy in them from Game 7, that they still off that like adrenaline in them, or they're going to gas out. And now we're seeing that they're gassing out right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Celtics are pulling away. Now this is the largest lead that the Celtics have had the entire game, since probably the first quarter, since the first couple minutes of the first quarter. So that's what we're seeing right now is, hey, Cleveland's starting to get a little gassed.
No, I know what you mean. They're definitely getting a little bit tired on the defensive side here with the Celtics being able to capitalize. And Rob brought up that great point as well at the beginning where the Celtics were just missing the shots. The Cavs weren't playing the tightest defense. They just got a lazy foul there from, I believe, Karis LeVert with Jaylen Brown coming off that screen. But speaking of Jaylen Brown, just absolutely fantastic tonight. Just
Of course.
complete domination for the Celtics team, and I really like that he won that game for the Boston Celtics in Game 5 with dominating fashion, because I feel like the biggest critic of Jaylen Brown this offseason were those Miami Heat fans due to how that series went down. So I was very happy that he was able to bounce back and kind of, prove to those fans why he was worth that money and show to the Celtics fans that he could overcome that fear. Is that kind of something like that you agree on as well?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. That's actually word for word, bar for bar, verbatim. Sorry, quoting little rap beefs there. Like, that's exactly what I would say. I agree with that 100%.
Mm-hmm. And I let Donovan Mitchell, man, just making these crazy shots, just like willingly taking this Cavs team like in these runs, and that's something that I feel like the Miami Heat didn't really have. With Jimmy Butler being out, they relied on Bam Adebayo to hit those shots and score in the paint for them. But if players could eliminate Bam Adebayo from scoring and their 3-pointers weren't falling, it was kind of like, not like we can coast, but we can kind of drift away a little bit and just worry about the defensive side, and if our shots aren't going in, it's A-okay. But with this Cavs team, guys like Donovan Mitchell, Max Strus, Georges Niang, Karis LeVert, Darius Garland, they have so many better scores than I think this Heat team did. That Celtics can't count this team out if they get a 12 or 14 point lead, regardless if it's the first quarter or the fourth quarter.
No, you can't. I mean, look at the way this game is going. You can't count them out.
Mm-hmm.
You can't count out anything about it. I mean, like, yes, the Celtics are up, but that's not even a comfortable lead. I wouldn't be satisfied with this lead right now.
No, I know what you mean. And kind of to go back on your point, too, the Celtics did kind of lost the lead versus this team. I believe during the regular season they had a 20-point lead going into the fourth quarter, and they lost versus this Cavs team, so you definitely don't want to see that. The only good thing is Dean Wade is not playing. So Celtics get that, kind of lifted off their shoulders, as he was the one that willingly brought them back in that game. But Donovan Mitchell making another tough basket there at the rim. Absolutely ridiculous. Has 28 points, 11 in the third quarter, going and doing what he did in the fourth quarter. Kind of similarly in Game 6 versus the Magic, where he's just turning up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, Donovan Mitchell, he's a streaky guy. And my thing is, the funny thing about this is, this might be, I'm not into the hot take thing, but it's legitimately might be Donovan Mitchell's last year in Cleveland. Like, I think win or lose, like, I don't think he's staying in Cleveland.
I agree with you in that. I'm not much of like the hot take debate type like either. I'd rather, once it's concrete, once we have the information, then we can look at the rumors, we can kind of dissect and see where he could go. But I totally agree with you. I think after, last season's disappointing first round exit to the Knicks, I thought that if they lost to the Magic in the first round, it was a for sure gone conclusion that he was going to want to get out. And I know that Dan Gilbert is their owner, right? Or GM?
For now. Yeah, he's the owner for now.
Okay, so believe Dan Gilbert came out and said that they're trying to re-sign him. They feel confident they could re-sign him. But then there's all the reports of, going back to last season and talking like, oh, he wants to go to New York. Oh, he wants to go here. Oh, he wants to go play somewhere else. So I truly agree with you. I think that win or lose, I think that Cleveland's going to have a little bit of a shake-up, especially with how young this Eastern Conference is, especially teams like Indiana kind of having their core ready, Orlando already kind of having their core ready. A team like Cleveland can move off maybe Donovan Mitchell, maybe move off of Jared Allen, and reevaluate things with Mobley and Darius Garland, and not completely take a big step back, but take a little step back, maybe drop to the 9th or 10th seed and be a play-in team, but still have a young core that it's exciting for your fans.
Right, and that's what I think. Like, it's going to come down to that. Like I say, win or lose, unless they win the championship.
Yeah.
They could win this series, but I just don't see Donovan Mitchell staying in Cleveland. I just don't see it. So this is like their window now to win with him now, because Donovan Mitchell now, hate to say it, is approaching his prime.
Mm-hmm.
He's not approaching it next year, but he's like a couple seasons away.
Yep.
And this is now like a win now situation with Cleveland with him now, because regardless, you still have Darius Garland, you still have Mobley brothers, Okoro, Max Strus for a couple years now under contract, Karis LeVert.
Yep.
you'll take a step back, but then you fill it in with a vet role like a Javon Carter that can fill that 2 spot and let
Yes.
Gary play on the
Yes.
ball.
Yes.
So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is now or never for Cleveland.
I really like that Javon Carter fit because that's been a need as the backup point guard for Cleveland. Obviously, they were expected to have Ricky Rubio this season. Now, obviously, some things went down with him, so we wish him the best of luck. But, like, that's unexpected. So you have that kind of hole there. You don't really have it filled, but Javon Carter would be a great piece. Even though I am a Celtics fan, I'm all for having... How I like the NBA is having the best teams be at the best. I hate when teams ride the middle. I hate when teams like, for example, like the Indiana Pacers after Paul George with the Victor Oladipo era, where they were happy to be the 5 or 6 seed, but knew they weren't going to win a playoff series. I like when teams are either really stacked heavy or really focused on the bottom, and I think the Cavs could do something like that. I don't know. Maybe trading a Donovan Mitchell for a Tyler Hero-esque type of shooter or something like that. Some sort of, still score, but a little bit younger for your timeline to fit in with Darius Garland, to fit in with Evan Mobley. So that can be your core 3 when the NBA needs you in 2 to 3 years. When you're out at your primes, you can be that, star-studded juggernaut.
Yeah, because I think Cleveland wants to be Cleveland rather be Oklahoma City.
Yes.
Like like they're young enough to be Oklahoma City, but Donovan Mitchell, I hate to say it, is not in the way, but like he's help. Like they could be literally Oklahoma City on the in the Eastern Conference.
Exactly, and they have another young shooter as well in Sam Merrill, who's been really, really solid for them this year. I don't know how much you've heard about him, but he's kind of like their Sam Hauser shooting-esque type guy who has come up for them. They have, like you mentioned, Karis LeVert, Celtics killer, but he can be a plug-and-play starter piece or a fantastic, 6th, 7th man off the bench for you on a star-stacked team. Georges Niang can be a perfect bench shooter for the 7th, 8th, 9th role. I know that they're running Tristan Thompson right now at their backup center because they don't have Jared Allen, but could work some things out there. I think maybe, I know that they have a stretch big in Niang, but maybe a stretch center or something like that, but point guard definitely is a need for the Cavaliers, and I'll have to wait and see what they do in the offseason, you know what I mean? I'm not expecting them to beat the Celtics in this series. I'm expecting it to be a competitive series, but I'm expecting them not to win, and I'm expecting some changes to be made. But Donovan Mitchell, just another tough basket.
Tough basket, and I mean, look at the score. We had 92-77. This is where Cleveland is getting gassed, and I proved that well.
Celtics just missed an opportunity, but like you mentioned, Celtics getting a lot of opportunities on the offensive side, which is huge.
It's amazing. It's huge. I love seeing this. I mean, this is awesome. But for a moment, I'm gonna grab a little bit of water before the start of the fourth.
No worries.
Chat, I'll be right back. I'm gonna keep it a little warm here. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. The Celtics just hit a shot clock buzzer beater. Peyton Pritchard just got a nice buzzer beater, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. How we doing, Celtics Nation? As Isaac runs to the bathroom and gets some water, we'll be breaking down the chat with you guys, but let's see what everybody's saying. Everybody's freaking about Cornette. Let's go. Mitchell needs to easy on a celebrate. He needs all the energy he can for the fourth. But Peyton Pritchard, another tough shot. And Luke's got your back, JT, of course. But PP with the buzzer beater. Thank you, Dwayne, and thank you, Live Gun. If we want to look at the stats here for the game, we can see Donovan Mitchell, 33 points, absolutely carrying this Cleveland Cavaliers team here. Garland shooting around 39%, Okoro 40%, Mobley 42%. For the Celtics, Jaylen Brown on an absolute heater, 24 points, 9 for 14 from the field. Al Horford, 2.6 rebounds. Tatum 13 and 10. Derek White 25. Drew Holiday with 2 assists, 5 rebounds, and 12 points. And Peyton Pritchard with 10 off the bench. And Luke Cornette with a total of 9 rebounds. Key impact pieces that need to step up. I like that Joe kept PP out for most of the third to let him regroup and get his confidence back. I'm agreeing with you, BX. We need to see PP get that confidence going. But again, if you guys are enjoying the stream, if you guys are enjoying hanging out here, leave a like down below on the stream. We had a total of 237 views and over 19 likes, so I can't appreciate every single one of you that hit that like button hit that subscribe button. Enjoyed the stream. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. And as we look for the fourth quarter here, I am absolutely ecstatic. Let's get it going, Boston Celtics fans, ladies and gentlemen. One second. And we are back. Here we go. So let's look at the chat. Let us know what you guys think down below. If you guys were here with Brandon Slater here, I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out with him. Like I said, Isaac said he had a fantastic job. He was excited to come on the stream. I was absolutely emphatic and beyond excited to have Brandon Slater come up here, give his thoughts, talk about the, his time with the main Celtics, talk about Villanova, talk about some of his players with Neemias Queta and all that stuff. So again, really do appreciate everybody that came out and hang out with us tonight. And as for the fourth quarter, it's going to be, me and Isaac breaking it down, hanging out, having a good time. So we hope you guys are enjoying the stream. And as the Celtics are up by a total of 15 points entering this fourth quarter here, we're hoping you guys are enjoying that stream. So hit the like button as we call for a little bit of a like spike here. As the Celtics try to keep that momentum and try to keep up that fire in this fourth quarter. Like we mentioned, Derek White has been on a heater the last couple games. 38 points, 25 points, 25 points. Just an absolute beast for the Boston Celtics. And once again, 7 for 11 from three-point range. That shooter, that scorer, that killer for this Boston Celtics team. Here we go. The game is back. We're going to break it down, going over. I'm sorry that ESPN is ahead of TNT. It's kind of ridiculous. But Jaylen Brown to the rack. Nice. Absolute beautiful floater there. And Blaze Swozy saying, let's go, Bruce. What's up, Blaze? How we doing tonight? Glad you're enjoying the stream. One of my boys from college coming out here. We appreciate you. He's hyped up about Derek White, and that's what I'm saying, Blaze. Derek White is an absolute beast. My grandma be loving him from all the chats that we've been having. But Sam Merrill takes a three, misses, rebound Mobley. Back out to DG with the floater, and he makes it. Celtics still up 15 here, even though the score says otherwise, because ESPN is ahead. But now we got our boy Drew down low to Horford. Horford gonna work down low, body down low, and goes up with it and finishes. Al Horford, big finish, Al. Let's go. And the Cavs got that ball movement on the three-point line, misses the three. Here come the Celtics. Here. Brown, three, boom! Jaylen Brown getting it down, hitting that three-point shot. 29 points for Brown, 11 for 16. Look at that efficiency from him. The Jays coming to life, and Al Horford getting that huge rebound for the Celtics here. JB wanting on another heat check, get to the rack. Kicks out. Great ball movement from the Celtics. Holiday going to the lane. Should have been called for a foul. Not going to get called for it, unfortunately. Celtics Roblox, you're not wrong. Big Al is completely underrated. And Blaze, I'm glad that you like the mullet. Yeah, we got the mullet coming through. Appreciate the respects. Appreciate the compliments. But here, Donovan Mitchell looks like he's going to want to check back in. Looks like he's a little aggravated. He's not getting back into this game here with around 9 minutes to go and the score down 20. And Isaac is back. What's up, Isaac? How we doing?
I'm doing okay. I just had to get some water. Had to grab a little snack.
No worries. No worries.
We had to do something. But oh my gosh, wow, Derek White. You know what? Maybe we're off. Maybe I was a little off with that. Maybe he is going to be the Eastern Conference Finals.
No, he's hooping right now, man. He's really turning up for this Celtics team. He has another 25 points game tonight, which is absolute huge. Last couple games has been on an absolute heater for the Boston Celtics. And Drew Holiday getting the key block on Sam Merrill. Again, Drew Holiday hasn't been the most consistent for the Celtics on the offensive side this playoffs, but that's no worries as he's a fantastic defender. 1 second. Oh my gosh. I didn't want to sneeze into the mic there, but I could feel it coming out of my nostril.
Mm-hmm. Nah, Drew. Derek, not Drew. I was thinking Drew Holiday, but Derek White. Yeah, no, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, 100%, 100%. I'm for it. I'm not in Don't get it twisted. I'm not a.
Talk about the mullet.
Mullet.
Yeah, no, they're talking about my hair.
Oh, yeah, is it a mullet?
Yeah, it is.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that either.
Nah, yeah, you can only kind of tell from the side. One of the comments from my friends in here was Mullet God.
Oh wow.
What do you think about this? This is from one of my boys, Blaze. He says Pacers Knicks about to be in some trouble next round with the Boston Celtics.
Whoever wins that series is going to go to 7 with Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm. I think Indiana showed that their pace is very fast for the Celtics defense to handle, and they work and are very successful in it. And the Knicks obviously have that depth, have that defense to be able to slow down the Boston Celtics, maybe control it a little bit more, get set like we saw in Game 2 with Miami, where if they can get set in their defense, Boston's going to have troubles, especially if they're not scoring lethal from three-point range.
That's true. I don't know. I think the Pacers don't scare me as much.
They definitely don't scare me as much either.
But I'm still the only reason why they scare me even a little bit because once again, the small market teams are really hard to play at in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Like Cleveland, when you got to go play at Cleveland, Indiana, DC, Charlotte.
You even see with Oklahoma City, with Loud City, it's
that's
yeah.
You're playing college gym.
Mm-hmm.
All those markets, maybe not Cleveland, but like Indiana, Oklahoma City, DC, you're playing in a college gym. Not like you're playing in a college type environment. The fans are going to be loud. They're going to be crazy. And I know some of the Celtics are like, why are you talking about DC? Because when DC was in the playoffs, and I'm from here, it was madness. They beat the Celtics a couple times.
Talk about John Wall, Otto Porter, Kelly Oubre, Bradley Beal, Marcin Gortat. Trust me, I watched all those games. That John Wall buzzer beater, I was at Fenway Park, and I saw him hit it on the TV and was absolutely flabbergasted. Just...
Yeah,
DC goes wild with G Wiz when it's popping in DC.
So any of these small markets, it is so hard to win a game in a small market arena in the playoffs. So if I'm the Celtics, I don't want to play Indiana either.
No, yeah, and they again, like I mentioned, their pace is very fast, and I think that the Celtics can obviously match that pace on the offensive side. Jaylen Brown, is a very key contributor in getting that offense started going really early, but I think it will be a little bit of a test. It's something that they're not used to seeing every single night. And BX is talking about Mitchell Robinson is out. I did not see a notification on that, but I'm going to check that out and see. Mitchell Robinson is out. So that could be big for the Boston Celtics as well if there's no Mitchell Robinson. Let's see what the tweet is. Don't see anything on Mitchell Robinson. Oh, he's out 6 to 8 weeks. Likely out the rest of the playoffs. So that is not good. And the guy that we talked about in the beginning of the stream was Precious Achiuwa. He could be a big impact guy for the Knicks. Now they're going to have to look for him because I believe that Bogdanovich is out as well, if I'm not mistaken. So no Bogdanovich, no Mitchell Robinson. That's tough for and no Julius Randle. That's tough for the front court of the New York Knicks.
All you have is Isaiah Hartenstein
and Jericho Sims. I believe they have Jericho Sims too. I don't know.
Knicks was wholly healthy. I don't know the way they're playing. If they were fully healthy in their front court, I love the Celtics. I want to cheer for the Celtics as much as the next guy, but I don't. If they were fully healthy, the Knicks were fully healthy. I don't know, man.
No, it's definitely a dogfight. In my opinion, they're the best two teams. And if this Knicks team that we saw at the trade deadline is there the full entire season, they're rivaling with the Boston Celtics for that number 1 seed back and forth. It's an absolute dog battle for sure.
Yeah, no, OG Anunoby was a steal. I mean, we could say that was a win-win trade for everybody because the Raptors got better.
Yep. It helped both sides.
Helped both sides. It was no one got fleeced. Nothing happened. Oh my God! Wow.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw Jaylen Brown almost make that layup. That's why my facial expression went like that. And Luke grabbing the rebound. But like BX is saying, he always wanted Gortat on the C's. He loved his game, and BX, I'm in the same boat with you. I'm a big fan of the John Wall, Marcin Gortat pick and roll with that whole scheme in DC, and that just just that embracement. Gortat was a slept on big, one of a top 10 big in the NBA for a while, with getting a lot of disrespect in those mid 2010s. Yeah,
no, he was. I mean,
I know obviously he was a DC native, from like watching him and stuff, but he was a guy that I always liked watching.
It made me mad because he loved being Orlando more than DC. I'm like, your best years were in DC. I don't know why he loves being like, oh, I love being. I'm like, maybe it's just Europeans loving the no taxes things, but like, buddy, your prime years were spent in DC and they were spent well.
Yep.
Guys just did not. It came out now that they didn't get along very well, and I know someone in the chat mentioned that he should have been on the Celtics during those years. Low key, yeah. If he was on the Celtics probably be in the finals.
Yep.
Take maybe out the Cavs. Let's be honest.
He's a slept, underrated big that I know that. Oh, with Luke with the slam, but I know that is going to be brought up in those TikTok slideshows and stuff. Do you remember Marcin Gortat? Or we're going to be talking about in 4 or 5 years, someone's going to bring up Marcin Gortat's name, and someone that doesn't really understand basketball, or just a younger of age person to be, who is that? We're just going to have these great flooding memories of just some great plays and just great hustle movements from a great two-way big who could do it all on both sides.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's one of those things. Marcin Gortat. I mean, I wish he was. Probably still looks good enough to play now, but he's tired now. But wow, oh wow. As a DC fan, I wish we went to the Eastern Conference Final with them.
I mean, you had some great battles. You had some great battles with the Celtics. I know one of them was was very close.
Yeah.
There. I know one of them wasn't that close. I think it was a sweep by Boston, or it was a 5-game series. But I know that one of the matchups was a back and forth battle with Kelly Oubre and Kelly Olynyk going at it.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's definitely man. I'm getting nostalgic. We gotta focus on.
No, yeah, but apparently Luke got a waved off alley-oop, which isn't great, which I saw with my own eyes. But Jason Tatum making the mid-range there to keep this lead at 20 points and keeping this Cleveland Cavaliers team at bay. The Celtics here, like we mentioned, even though the Cavs have gone on these runs to make the game close, to kind of will it back, the Celtics are just not letting off that gas pedal, not letting this Cavs team get close. It's been 10, 15, besides in the first half, but in the second half it's been distant, 15, 20 points, and now Peyton Pritchard just hit another 3. Brandon was talking about how he was Peyton Pritchard, how he could be a guy to pop off, and we're seeing it tonight with Peyton Pritchard hitting some shots here in the second half, and the Celtics taking some control in the fourth quarter of this just Cavs team.
I mean, I want to say put the bench in now, like Richard just run the show, but because I'm worried about the defensive matchups, and although Slate did explain to everybody early in the stream, it doesn't matter. Like, guys are going to be ready to go.
Yep.
I'm still worried about it as a fan. But obviously you had a pro tell me, like, no. You don't need to worry about the matchups. Like, the offensively, they'll be all right. But I'm worried about the two-way matchups because they don't have guys like him playing both ways consistently.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying before the stream when we were talking. I was saying his role, I feel like there's not, on our Celtics team, there's no guy that's, besides Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who are the two, great wings, the two Jays. There's no, Sam Hauser's a great two-way guy on the defensive side, but he's not guarding guys like Slater is and stepping up on them and not letting them get by him and all that type of stuff like that I'd seen at college, when I'd seen at the main Celtics and stuff like that. And
putting in the bench in right now to save everybody because I don't know. Like this 20-point lead could easily become an 8.
Yep. No, I know what you mean. Especially with this Cavs team, we saw it in the regular season. With them, losing this 20-point lead in the fourth quarter versus the Cavs. Maybe Joe's a little bit weary with that. I got a question from Blaze here asking my favorite non-Celtics player besides Devin Booker. Probably De'Aaron Fox. Isaac, who are some of your favorite players in the NBA? I want to ask you that.
Outside of my favorite Celtics player, or
yes, or Celtics. Let me ask your favorite player that's not a Celtics player and not somebody that that plays in the NBA. Like, who is like one of your guys that you like look at their game and you're like, I like that guy.
My favorite guy, and it's always going to be. I'm supporting my friends all the way through. Someone that I do not know, or have any affiliation or tie with. I'm going to say, what's his name? I'm trying to think. What was? I know who I'm thinking about. Probably.
Goodbye, Celtics for Bucks.
I'll give it to Anthony Edwards. I love Anthony Edwards. And technically, me and him have a lot of mutual friends.
That's awesome.
Like I love Anthony Edwards. I love everything about Anthony Edwards. Wow. I wish he was not in Minnesota. Charlotte. I wish Charlotte took him, to be honest. If he was in Charlotte, I think he'd be in trouble if he's in Charlotte. I think he'd be in trouble if he was in Charlotte because he's only 4 hours away from home, or 5 hours away from home from Atlanta. Man, if he was in Charlotte, if Charlotte picked him up instead of Minnesota, my God, we'd be talking about the Charlotte Hornets very, very differently.
Yep.
They'd be in the playoffs now.
Mm-hmm. They'd be some young surprising team with their Brandon Miller having a big year this year, obviously a guy, and obviously if they have Anthony Edwards, it changes where they draft and all that type of stuff. But Brandon Miller had a big year. Miles Bridges coming back had a big year for them. They made some great acquisitions at the trade deadline, I thought, as well, moving off of guys in Gordon Hayward, moving off of P.J. Washington, and bringing in some other guys that they hadn't really. They brought in Trey Mann, who was in a star-stacked Thunder guard lineup. They brought him in. He looked like a fantastic, backup point guard, a guy who could seemingly find his role. I think they also traded. I don't know if I'm butchering his name, but like Vasily Micic, I think was his name. They traded him over. He was like some like playmaker that they could bring over to have with LaMelo's injuries. And then who was the other one that? Bertans went there, I believe, but I believe that was after buyout. I'm trying to remember, but they definitely made some smarter decisions around their roster, and obviously they're in the hunt for a head coach now with Steve Clifford resigning and moving up into the front office, and Charles Lee is one of those guys who possibly could be the Hornets head coach. So I do think that they're trying to build some nice culture, trying to build something nice over there in Charlotte. And like you mentioned, in a couple of years, if they could stay healthy and could really hit this draft pick, me and my friends were talking, I think Reed Shepherd would be a really nice draft pick for them, like just to put him alongside LaMelo Ball, kind of depending on how you want to run Brandon Miller, but I think Brandon Miller works better at the 3 compared to the 2. A starting 5 of LaMelo Ball, Reed Shepherd, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, and Mark Williams is a talented starting 5, I think, that could make the fans actually care and want to go see their games, but also a nice young building market, kind of how Sacramento and Orlando have been.
That's true. I'm super excited about that. I mean, because you mentioned Reed Shepherd. He could be a Jaime Jaquez situation.
Mm-hmm.
Just a good plug-in guy.
Yep. And I think he fits that schema. He's a great shooter off the ball with the ball in his hands. If you take LaMelo out, or if LaMelo does get hurt, you can use him as a playmaker's tool as well. You can use him as a setup guy in the corners and stuff. There's a lot of intangibles that he can kind of fit in with over there, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he's young too, you know what I mean? Kind of fits in with that timeline with all those guys, with Brandon Miller, with Miles Bridges, with LaMelo Ball, with Mark Williams.
That's true.
BX is saying that he wants to get the bench in and hold them to under 100 points. That would hurt. So he wants the Celtics.
I don't know. Not yet. Not right now. No. Not until it's like not for another minute and a half. Not until it's like 59 seconds.
Is at the moment we have around 3 minutes and 20 seconds left in the game here, and the Celtics are still out in a decently controllable lead, up by 25. Isaac, not to kind of go off topic here, but as we know, the Thunder and Mavericks are coming up next. What do you think is going to win Game 1 of that series?
Thunder.
Thunder? Okay.
Like, no question, Thunder.
Okay.
I think the Thunder wins the series, but it's not going to be. It's going to go to 6.
I think the Mavs are going to win the series, but I think it's going to be a close series. I think, like you said, it's going to go 6 or 7. But I'm excited to see who wins Game 1 tonight. I'm excited to, turn that on and get some more playoff basketball going on. You know what I mean? This is
What? Mavs are going to win.
what?
How do you think the Mavs are going to win the series?
I think the Mavs are going to win the series because I think we're going to see Luka versus Shea, which is going to be fantastic. But I know that the Thunder have a lot of depth. I'm just looking at experience. I think that the Thunder are not going to be able to hold up in the playoffs. Ooh.
I see them losing in the Western Conference Finals.
I could see them losing in Western Conference Finals or to the Mavs. I think it's going to be a close series. Yeah,
It's the proudness to guard Shea. That he's the X factor of the whole series.
Yeah.
You're not wrong though.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I just think I know that Josh Green's not like he's a good defender. He's not be able to stop Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but I think the Thunder do have some good quality defenders as well, and they have some good quality shot makers. They have that depth. I just think the lack of experience is going to catch up to them going up against guys like Kyrie, Luka, Tim Hardaway, guys that have been there. I know Daniel Gafford. I don't believe he has a playoff. He played with just the Wizards, correct?
No, he's as far as
he doesn't have any playoff experience, but he has some experience. But kind of looking at the Celtics here, your boy Brandon Slater's teammates checking in. He's getting in. Nimi is at the table, ladies and gentlemen. My boy Nako was on the radio calling live stream. He was talking about how he wanted to see Neemias Queta get in there and get some action in this playoff series. And like Brandon Slater was saying, we're going to get to see Nimi get some run, which is absolutely fantastic. And as we all know, huge Nimi fans over here over on Celtics Digest, as always.
A big Nimi fan too. I mean, he talked about how Nimi's impact is, and I feel like, and I wish someone got to ask him. I didn't ask him. I'm like, how does Nimi going back? Because like, toward the later end of the season, Nimi just stayed in the G League.
Yeah.
Just to really build that confidence back up. I wanted to ask Slate, how did that resonate? That staying that he was in the G League for about 4 weeks, right, for a month, and then was just on the playoff run with them. How did that help? How's that playoff run going to help him with this run? I wanted to ask him that. I thought someone else was going to ask him too.
I also think that it was cool that he got to answer the question and got to see a guy like Neemias Queta, go through the trials of, because Neemias was a guy who was also, like Brandon as well, was brought in the offseason in the summer. It's not like we had Neemias Queta for a year or two like that. He was brought in this offseason to come in. So I think that's really cool that he got to see a guy, especially his teammate, get brought in here. Obviously, Nimi was a runner-up in the G League in the past, but get able to work up to that two-way contract, then see him be able to translate from that two-way contract to an NBA contract and kind of give him that that path, give him that confidence, you know what I mean, that he can also do it, you know what I mean? Because obviously Brandon has confidence in himself, all the NBA players are going to have confidence in themselves, but seeing one of your teammates, I think, do it alongside of you makes you feel better for him, but also makes you feel better about yourself, too.
Yeah, no. Oh, sorry, Ben just messaged everybody.
No, you're good. You're good. I saw it too.
Our boss man just messaged everybody. Messaged us about something with the NBA playoffs, but we'll look at it another day.
Ice Wallow Combs here, and they're here to stay. What's up, Ice Wallow Comb? How we doing? Here for the end of the game. We're glad to have you here. Stop saying we want Boston. Isaac, what are your thoughts on that? We heard the Cavs fans asking for it. We heard the Heat fans asking for it. Now,
the only team that deserves to say we want Boston is the
Denver?
Knicks. Is for the culture. It's for the history of the rivalry, the Knicks and Celtics. That's the only team that I feel like that can legitimately say we want Boston, because I don't know about you guys. I am a secret fan of Side Talk NYC, and as a media guy who works in radio, like, your dream is to work in New York radio, because if you can handle New York sports fans, you can handle anything. That's not even being a Knicks fan.
nope.
I'm biased as hell. You want to witness that. So I want to see Boston versus New York in East, like a classic Eastern Conference final. So no, they're the only fans that should be chanting, we want Boston, because it's a canon event. We want that.
Exactly. Sorry, Nemi just got a tip in from a lob from Peyton Pritchard again. Brandon was talking about how he's a guy that could pop off for the Boston Celtics. And as we've seen in the second half, Peyton Pritchard, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists with a steal, shooting 5 for 12 from the field and 4 for 10 from three-point range. Stepping up and doing his thing, especially when the Celtics needed him.
Yeah, no. Everyone stepped up.
Landon saying got to get better on the D versus the Cavs. I think that's like a Cav emoji or a wolf. I don't know, but got to be better on that defense. But again, for the Cavs here, Mobley had 17 and 13, Mitchell had 33, but after that, Garland 14, Okoro 11, Strus 5. Not on the greatest shooting either. Mobley had some good shooting, but Garland shooting around 40%, not the greatest. And then for the Celtics, 5 Celtics in double figures tonight. Peyton Pritchard 16, Holiday 14, Derek White 25, Tatum 18, and Jaylen Brown 32 total points. The Celtics are going to get this win versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, 120-95. Isaac, we thought it was going to be a lot closer than this, but the Celtics were able to hold it out in the second half and get it done. We saw fantastic performances from everybody. What is kind of your main takeaway from this game here?
The defense has got to be better. But because, like, although the score looks like they won by a lot, it doesn't feel like it. I know, I can tell you that now. As from a basketball guy, my anxiety's through the roof right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, we won easily, but we didn't win easily. Like, the score doesn't say the whole game. I feel like the score doesn't tell the whole game. Cleveland still has their legs from Game 7, and that's kind of scary. Just imagine they get some actually true rest. Like, although this is a big margin, I'm not underestimating Cleveland. You can't. Too many playmakers, too many stuff. Defense has got to be better.
No, exactly. I know what you mean. This game felt like it was closer than what it actually was. And this Cleveland Cavaliers team was able to go on those runs back and forth kind of to go with the Celtics team. But this Celtics team just erupted in the second half from the offensive side, outscoring the Cavs 33-28 in the third and 28-18 in the fourth. Landon's giving you 100, Isaac. He's telling you that you're speaking the facts. So again, he's agreeing with you on that. If we want to look a little bit at the team stats here before we head out, I'm just going to break that down for everybody. If we want to look at that, we could see Celtics shot. Let me pull this up, make it a little bit bigger. There you go. 39% from the field, or 48% from the field, 39% from three compared to the Cavs' 41% and 26%. Shooting better from free throw as well. Out-rebounded them with no Jared Allen by a total of 17. Out-assisted them. Yes, they had more points in the paint, but the Celtics were able to hit those threes and take over as their largest lead was 26 points, with the Cleveland Cavaliers' largest lead being a total of 2. Isaac, any last words before we head out on the stream tonight?
Well, I guess real quick, thank you guys for all the questions and asking Slate. I hope you guys enjoyed them. That was a gift to you guys for you guys just sticking with us, rolling with us, and rocking with us. Slate's been a good friend of mine. He's someone that I've tried to promote and try to push. That I'm praying that Joe gives him his opportunity to put him on there, because he's 6'7" and he can literally, he's a 3-and-D guy. but obviously that means that Sam Hauser might have to go. But that's a whole nother thing, which we don't want Sam Hauser to leave. But I guess as far as this series, we're in for a dogfight. Expect Celtics in 6.
That's what I'm saying. I was going Celtics in 5 to start off the series, but in my honest opinion, after this, I think it's going to be a Celtics in 6. But like you mentioned, shout out to you, Isaac, for getting Brandon to hop on here. We appreciate you so much. But again, shout out to Brandon for hopping onto the stream. Shout out to everybody for asking Brandon all the questions you guys had. Hopefully, he'll be able to make another appearance so we can have this fun once again. Like we mentioned, the Celtics got the dub and have now a total of 5 playoff wins under their belt. As the Celtics look to go up 2-0 on Thursday, we will be here with another live watch along. So if you guys enjoyed this one, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to stay tuned to Celtics Digest, as we have all the great Boston Celtics content and coverage coming throughout you guys with the playoffs and the offseason. From Bruce Veliz and my co-host Isaac, I thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. Thank you guys for being here, and I'll catch you guys in the next live stream. Have a great rest of your night,